So if I want to try again, show you a different way of doing this, I could draw a box around the things that Control A is really the best way to make sure everything is cleared out or everything is grouped together. So I'm going to delete everything and try a different tool. So this one is the Polygon tool. Now the problem is we don't have a shortcut for Polygon. So if you have to bring your toolbar back in order to be able to see the polygon, that's really a problem because you're going to become reliant on these things right here. And if I look right here under rectangle, you can see polygon. Now your polygon does not have a G next to it for a keyboard shortcut. I programmed it so that I will be able to make a polygon anytime I need to. Let me go over here to Window and Preferences, and I can find my shortcuts. And you can make a shortcut for anything that you want. So if you're looking for polygon, we might do a search for polygon, and there is the Draw Shapes polygon. It will not have a keyboard shortcut assigned to it. So let's say I want this to be Control P. So I'm going to add a shortcut here, Control P, and say add that. So right now it's being used for file print. Well, we're not going to be printing things very often from SketchUp. So we can make Control P for polygon as well. So I'm going to say yes, and now Control P will work for the Polygon tool. So let me click OK here and try it out. So Control P, and look at that, I've got a polygon. The problem is it's an ugly polygon. And I only say that, I don't have anything strictly against hexagons, but since it's the default, I've seen hundreds of these models with 6 sides over the years. So I want you to use any other number of sides, 5, 11, 22, anything that you want. If you want an octagon, it's pretty easy. You'll notice I'm live right here. Okay, I'm not clicking and dragging. I'm going to type the number 8 and the letter S. So in the lower right hand corner you can see 8S, and I press enter, and now I'm drawing an octagon. And once again, not just drawing it at any old angle, because I may want to make something that lines up with these vertices. So I'm going to do that 5-foot initial pull, and let me go Control P. Let's see. First, I'm going to pull this up, let's say 1 inch. And now I'm going to make another polygon. Control P. Look, because it's not a circle, it's letting me still have access to the origin. I'm going to click and try and drag. No, maybe I do need to do this. Line across the middle. Nope, something very strange is going on. Let me try again. Push, pull up 2 centimeters. It's a very thin base. Let me just bring it up a little more, and let me make a polygon and see if I can get there. Okay, so yeah, not letting me at the origin. I'm going to draw a line right here, and the reason I'm not using the offset tool is because I am going to make a polygon by clicking and drag, and this time I'm going to make it a 16-sided figure. And come out, how about that 4 foot? So now I've got a couple lines to get rid of and an interesting shape that I can then draw some lines from. So I can go from here to each of these other vertices, and they'll all line up very symmetrically because I used the red axis as my starting point. And then that allows me to do all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm just dividing this very regularly, and then I could take the inner one and then just start dividing it randomly into a lot of different pieces. This is one way to make something unique that hasn't been printed before, and just trying to divide the pieces up into chunks. So I might want to do something like pull each of these up, let's say 1 foot. And again, if nothing's selected, I can go double click, double click, double click. So when you're making geometric shapes like that, that can be pretty handy to do something very quickly over and over. I am seeing, because I drew those lines, lines I didn't really want on there. Okay, so I've cleaned those up. Maybe bring those up beforehand. And now I can use my push-pull tool. Nothing's selected, so everywhere I hover is selected, and I can start bringing things up random amounts. Maybe dividing those up. Now notice right here it's saying, hey, you are limited. You can only go, well, the trick, just let go and pull again. If it gets stopped, try clicking again, and now that one, which was in between the other two, is taller than the other ones. That's when you can start making things, keep bringing them up, bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, that's not always better. Remember, if I just add a bunch of volume to this, it's going to take a lot of filament, a lot of time, a lot of wear and tear on the machine. So what's the trick? Start offsetting and pushing down. Hollow things out, leaving enough of a wall that it's strong. So if you do, let me select this face, offset, and do it just too small. So this right here, this is not going to 3D print very well. This wall is so thin that it's going to have a great deal of difficulty printing. So always just bring it in, and there's no exact number, just depends on your scale, but just make sure there's enough material that it'll hold nicely. And you can do that. You can even then offset again and bring this one up to start getting some really interesting shapes there. And one more thing, the scale that I showed you a moment ago can also be pretty interesting here. Get some unexpected results. I'm holding down Alt usually to scale towards the center so that it doesn't go off, but look what I've got. Oh no, that is a reversed face. How did that get in there? Is it fixable? That's what you want to watch out for. That's why we have the red warning color. And if I try to reverse that face, it didn't turn red on the other side. So it is a 3D shape. It's kind of very, very, very sharp. And so that may not print all that well. So things to watch out for. You want it to be fairly chunky. Very, very sharp, pointy things don't come out very well in printing, but I haven't saved this in a long time. So let me do File, Save As, and this is number 2. So don't wipe out something you did before. Just at least start changing the numbers, change the dates, and when you get to a certain point where you think that's good, then you go to town painting and coming up with different color schemes and seeing what you got. But this would be 3D printable. Nothing is sticking out from the edge. Things you watch out for, do not do this. Oops. That immediately, that's no longer 3D printable. Because it can't print. It gets to here, it tries to print in midair, and it'll just droop like spaghetti. There's a fix. It's an easy fix. We can move this face up in the air. Sometimes it goes in all crazy directions, depends on your angle. Remember, your arrow keys will force it to only go in one direction. Down is not the right direction. That makes it harder to 3D print. This is too, now we're getting up to an angle where it would be able to print this going out a little at a time, Can be a lot of fun to get those angles going upwards. This would probably break off pretty easily. So can't just move that back in or push it, pull. It's already way too big. So there's really not a whole lot that we could do here. Besides, hey, let's do that. Control Z, bring it out, move it in the up arrow direction, and now that's got a little bit of a better chance of not breaking. So there is a whole nother, just a few minutes of being kind of crazy. Sometimes you can be very geometrical and precise, and other times you get kind of random. And there's never been a 3D model exactly like this one before. And that's what I'm looking for. So new things to print. And of course, everything can be animated. Even if it has parts that can't be 3D printed, you're going to make a great animation out of it as is.